Today, a lot of young people assume that moving in together is essential for marital success. But this practice of cohabitation before marriage actually ramps up a couple's tendency toward divorce compared to couples who wed without first living together. Instead of leading to better marital outcomes, the living together before marriage trend is making marriage less successful. Why? Hey, welcome to TEB Talk. My name is Dr. Tracy Barnes, and here is our issue. Why does living together before marriage decrease the chances for a successful marriage? You would think that testing out the waters before taking the plunge would enhance your success rate, but it doesn't. People who cohabitate before marriage have a particular view of marriage. They're generally not aware of this view, but they do abide by it. Let me explain by asking this very simple question. What is your view of marriage? Now, not to oversimplify, but I believe there are two views or two ways of understanding marriage. One view is what I call the selfie view. It's all about me, and it's all about how I feel. The other view is the sacred view, and it's all about God and what God has decreed. Couples who live together before marriage have a selfie view of marriage. Let me explain. The selfie view is all about me and what I feel. Couples who enter into a relationship, who move in together before marriage, they enter into a relationship that is not about commitment, but rather it is about the intensity of feeling. The relationship is grounded in this intensity of feeling, usually described as love. I'm going to stick around as long as the feeling persists, as long as this feeling I describe as love persists. In other words, I'll stick with you, I'll stay with you, I will be with you as long as you can make me happy. But if you cannot make me happy, if I don't feel the love, then I'm free to walk away from this relationship. Remember, the overriding question that frames the selfie view is, what can you give me? If you enter into marriage with the goal of first meeting your own desires, you will likely walk out as soon as those desires are not met. And since the practice of living together before marriage is considered a convenient means of testing out how well those wants are going to be met, it simply indulges that mindset further. If I'm not getting my needs met, if I'm not feeling the love anymore, if I'm not happy, it's adios. I'm out the door. Remember, the selfie view is a view that's built on what can you give me? Now, the sacred view is all about God and what God has decreed. This view of marriage states that the primary goal of marriage is not to make the man and woman happier, even though it does, but rather this view understands that marriage was decreed by God to create families that reflect His intimate and unconditional love and to fulfill the mandate to multiply and fill the earth with His imagers. The Bible states this understanding in the very opening pages. In Genesis chapter 2, we read, "A man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Marriage, from this understanding, is God-ordained. It is sacred, it is enduring, and it is applicable to all of humanity. It is a relationship that is grounded by covenant, a promise of permanence and exclusivity made by the man and the woman to each other before God. I commit to being faithful to you for the rest of my life. It is a shared bodily, emotional, and spiritual bond of mutual giving to one another. It is a shared domestic life that is uniquely fitted for being fruitful and multiplying. That is, for the bearing and raising of children. And remember, the overriding question to this particular view is not what you can give me, but rather, what can I give to you because I am committed to you for life? The sacred view of marriage is one of lifelong fidelity. And Jesus made this very clear when he was asked by a group of Pharisees one day, is it lawful to divorce one's wife for any cause? Listen to how Jesus answered. Have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they're no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate. I like the way Eugene Peterson captured Jesus' words in his translation, The Message. He writes, haven't you read in your Bible that the Creator originally made man and woman for each other, male and female, and because of this, a man leaves father and mother and is firmly bonded to his wife, becoming one flesh, no longer two bodies, but one. Because God created this organic union of the two sexes, no one should desecrate his art by cutting them apart. Cohabitation, or moving in together, does not make marriage more successful. It does just the opposite because it is not a life commitment relationship. In fact, there is no commitment at all. Cohabitation before marriage is a selfie view that is built on the shallow foundation of, what can you give me? Will you meet my desires? Will you make me happy? If you cannot, I will leave. You know, there was a time in our culture in which marriage was generally understood to be a covenant between a man and a woman, ordained and preserved by God. It was a holy relationship, an uncommon relationship, where a man and woman committed their lives to one another till death do them part. Even non-believers had this sense of sacredness, which is why they wanted to get married by a pastor in a church. The symbolism of an ordained minister conducting the marriage ceremony inside a church building was meaningful and significant. But times have changed. This sense of sacredness regarding marriage is being lost. Men and women move in together with no thought of long-term commitment. They bring their selfie view into their let's live together before marriage arrangement, and without realizing it, they reinforce the idea that this relationship is all about me and what I can get from you. The moment is now because I have no long-term commitment to you. And unwittingly, these couples set themselves up for failure. Jesus' answer again to the Pharisees regarding the sanctity and the profundity of marriage bears repeating again. Have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them to be male and female, and said, therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate. Does living together before marriage increase the chances of a successful marriage? No. What increases the chances of a successful marriage is entering into a covenant with each other and God to be committed to one another for life. As it says in Genesis, a man shall leave his mother and father and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. This is what God decreed. Hey, listen, thanks for joining me today on TED Talk. And if this has been helpful for you, please hit that like button. And again, if you've not come on board as a subscriber, I would love for you to do so because, as I've shared, I'm always putting out a video once a week, and we can enter into this journey together to discover all of what God has for us. Thanks again for being a part, and as always, God's very best to you.